Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos had always seemed like the perfect couple. Their love story began in 1996 on the set of All My Children, and from that moment on, they were inseparable. From rising soap opera stars to Hollywood power couple, their journey captivated fans everywhere. Kelly became the face of morning television, while Mark moved from acting to producing, and eventually joined her on Live. Together, they created a chemistry that was impossible to ignore, a mix of humor, banter, and warmth that made audiences adore them. They built a life many envied: 3 children, thriving careers, and a marriage that appeared untouchable. But behind the cameras, life was quietly beginning to challenge them in ways neither could have anticipated. It started with small things. Mark, always athletic and seemingly the picture of health, began experiencing subtle changes. Fatigue lingered longer after workouts. Occasional dizzy spells unsettled him, and sometimes his hands trembled when reaching for a glass of water. At first, they laughed it off. "Middle age," Mark joked. But Kelly couldn't shake the unease she felt whenever she caught a shadow under his eyes or a flicker of hesitation in his smile. One night, the worry became impossible to ignore. Kelly awoke to find Mark sitting on the edge of the bed, struggling to catch his breath. His chest rose and fell rapidly, his face pale. It was clear then this was more than simple exhaustion. Doctor visits followed, along with endless tests and anxious waits. And finally, the diagnosis came: a serious health condition that demanded treatment, constant monitoring, and a complete shift in their daily lives. Publicly, nothing changed. Kelly and Mark continued their morning show, laughing and sharing stories with fans as if everything were normal. But behind the closed doors, their lives had transformed. Kelly became Mark's unwavering support system. She organized his medications, attended every appointment, adjusted her schedule around his needs, and spent late nights researching treatments and speaking with specialists. Friends worried, urging her to rest, but Kelly's answer never wavered. I'll rest when Mark is better.
In its purest form, a devotion so intense it demanded sacrifice. Eventually, the strain became impossible to hide. One morning, after a long night at Mark's side through another difficult episode, Kelly walked into the studio exhausted. As the cameras turned on, the dam of emotion broke. Through tears, she confessed the truth to viewers. She could no longer divide her heart between the show and her husband. "Mark is my world," she said, voice trembling, "and right now, the only job I want is taking care of him." The studio was silent, save for the sniffles of the audience. Within hours, the news spread across the world. Kelly Ripa had stepped away from Live to focus on her husband's health. Messages of love and support poured in from fans and fellow celebrities alike. Medical experts praised her choice. Yet questions arose. Could the show survive without her? Would she ever return? For Kelly, those questions didn't matter. "The show will go on," she told producers, "but my place is with Mark." Life outside the studio was quieter, but far from simple. Kelly traded the glamour of television lights for hospital visits, therapy sessions, and constant care for Mark. She became an advocate for his health, making sure he received the best treatment possible. Their children rallied around them. Michael flew in whenever he could, Lola balanced college with visits home, and Joaquin called daily from school. Together, the family formed a united front, bound by love and determination. In the quiet moments, Kelly often reflected on what marriage truly meant. It wasn't the red carpets or applause. It was sitting together in silence through the hardest nights, holding on to hope. And Mark, even in his struggles, reminded her of her strength. "You've carried me," he whispered one night, "but don't forget, you're carrying yourself, too." Kelly smiled through her tears. "I'm only strong because of you," she replied. Their story wasn't one of despair. It was a story of resilience. Even in fear, they found gratitude. Even in illness, they found laughter. The battle was far from over, but they faced it together, united, unbreakable. Months later, Kelly gave a rare interview. She looked thinner, more fragile, yet her eyes shone with determination. She had stepped away from the career she loved, but in return, she had gained something far greater: the unwavering presence of love, devotion, and family.